Welcome back to the Laurence McKenna channel, where on the last video, 58% of you were not subscribed. We're on our way to 100k, but at least 50k for now. It's a huge target, but we want to hit it by the World Cup. And if you guys hit subscribe and share the video, maybe you're an Arsenal fan, maybe you're a fan of another Premier League club, you want to know down below what you guys want to see. But for now, hitting that subscribe button and sharing would really help the channel. Arsenal are 3 from 3 in the Premier League, and they had a pretty good pre-season as well. And to be honest, if we go even further back within the Arteta era, there are still some promising moments which show the graph is going this way, not that way. And it would be weird if it had gone that way all of a sudden, but you kind of get the point. There are people out there who are still detractors from Mikel Arteta, or at least the Arsenal project. And they put that predominantly on Mikel Arteta. But based on the performance today and based on the recent performances, I think we can extrapolate a lot of where Arsenal are at least going this season, and why, when there are some rocky times, we probably should keep the faith. Not least because we remember what happened last season, and there was a lot of faith in that side, but I'll cover that in a second. One thing I should note is there's always a lot of comparisons to the past with Arsenal, and a lot of people are always looking to go, hey, well, the past. You know what's really great about comparing to the past is, very often that can be unfavorable. You know, you had your Henry and Bergkamps. Sometimes when you're feeling good about yourself, if you compare people to the past, that can be a very favorable comparison. At the moment, you've obviously got a blonde guy and a Gabriel Jesus kind of looking guy, and those two have audacious elements and passing elements and enabling elements and goal scoring elements and elements of magic about them. And there's something quite nice about going and reassuring about the past when you go, we had this in the past, this is something we can extrapolate from there, we know that that has worked in the past, this could be a modern version of that. That must be very reassuring to Arsenal fans. In recent years, at least, within living memory, Arsenal have been a winning club and then a banter club. And their current trajectory is to try to go from banter back to winning. Now, there are some other teams who took the title of banter club for a little while, which helped Arsenal kind of escape that and leave that behind, because there can only be so many banter clubs at once. But the point with that is that they also had to shape that themselves. It couldn't just be that other people let them leave that, because if you are a winning side, you can't be letting other people define what you do. And we've seen it very recently, at least, in All or Nothing. We saw that people were trying to be detractors to what the project that Mikel Arteta was trying to install was. And we saw there were people who were saying very early on in his Arsenal career, I just don't believe he's the guy. I don't think he's the guy to take us to wherever we want to go. And he spoke about having heart and, you know, more tangible things than that, in that they believed in the project. And there, of course, there were a lot of moments where he drew some, whatever those were, up on the whiteboard, and he did the light bulb thing and all that. But it seems that the players are buying into this. And it seems that not only does it matter if the players are buying into us, it matters that there's a bond between Mikel Arteta and the players right now. So at least if we aren't buying into it on the outside, which I do, but there might not be seen by other people, the players are. What does it matter what you think if you've got a bonded, believing set of players? And it seems that that belief, similar to when Jurgen Klopp came in at Liverpool, doubters to believers, are beginning to harness that energy at least. Now, there will be people out there in the detractor set of people who say, hey, you've won in pre-season 4-0 against Chelsea, a pretty much nothing Chelsea side, 6-0 against Sevilla, who were still only just getting into it, and then you had Palace 2-0, Leicester 4-2, and Bournemouth 3-0. Now, there are a lot of nils in there, showing that Arsenal's defence is very solid at the moment, but Leicester are, of course, a good side. And then, let's actually start there in this game. Saliba got his goal today, and that was the third of the 3 goals. Saliba was followed by Virgil van Dijk, and loads of people were making those comparisons because, you know, the stature of the guy, I guess, to some extent, is skin color, and then the fact that he is a player who stands similarly, will play a similar role for Liverpool as he would for Arsenal. That garnered a lot of comparisons. Now, Virgil van Dijk is incomparable probably to modern Premier League players, at least at his very peak. But Saliba and the way he finishes, his thinking, the way that he uses the space at the back, the passing, the fact that before you'd be able to pressure Arsenal and the passing would crumble, now it seems that there is just a very quick rotation from side to side. A lot of sides have been able to do that in the league, but this is Arsenal not crumbling under even mild pressure, which at times they did last year. Now, I get it. Again, you could say that's because Palace, Leicester and Bournemouth aren't the kind of sides that will do that. But when you begin to build that kind of momentum and you look at their first couple of games going into the first 8 games, it's realistic that they could have 24 points out of 24 by the end of this run. Let me read you the run. Arsenal next play Fulham, Villa, Manchester United away, Everton at home, Brentford away, and then Spurs and Liverpool. And if they've built up a head of steam by then, there's no reason to think that this side shouldn't be on 24 points. And after that, you'd say they probably should be on higher than 24 points if they've built that momentum by that point. And a lot of that momentum is coming from the way they've rejigged this midfield and made it a little bit wider and put a lot more emphasis on that playmaker in the middle. Now, I get it. A lot of people are going to say, hey, don't take away from Gabriel Jesus. And I won't. I will get on to him in a second. But Martin Odegaard becoming captain and so much of the best play at Arsenal going through Martin Odegaard. And when I say the best play, I don't necessarily mean the audacious moments. I mean the repeatable footballing moments that managers look for, a repeatable pattern to score a goal. That means spreading the ball wide, through balls, dangerous moments, things that the opposition will be looking for and be wary of, which then they have to be mindful of. There are other players in the league where when they get the ball, you aren't necessarily anticipating a through ball. But when Odegaard's on the ball, you know there is danger. And not only that, he's the captain. But I'll get on to that in a second. The point is, when he's on the ball and he's putting something out wide, the intelligent decisions are being made. There are other people who have other skills within that team, but I feel like the emphasis, and you can see it within them passing mates, but also there is that Thiago type, sort of Xavi and Iniesta type air about the guy. He gets the ball, and it's not about the dribble, which it would be with maybe Xavi and Iniesta, but the point is it just makes its way out to the sides, or it makes its way wherever it needs to go beautifully. He's very elegant. It's the kind of thing that Arsenal have lacked, that self-identity, that they don't identify as a beautiful side anymore. At least they didn't for a while. Then that's going out to Saka, or going to Martinelli, or going to, say, Gabriel Jesus. Gabriel Jesus up front, a real cause for the Arsenal first 2 goals. He's got that chaotic element that Arteta was looking for. Of course, there were chaotic players before and players that could cause danger, but if you've got a player that can cause chaos, dribble, pass, put himself into, basically run into players, put himself into positions where he's going to be dangerous, that's exactly what Arsenal want. And then, obviously, you've got Martinelli. Earlier on the week, I think someone said he was the next Ronaldinho. It might have been Rio Ferdinand. And he basically said, hey, this guy is talented enough to go to the very top, Ronaldinho style. He's got those feet. He's got technical ability. That's promising if you're there. Now, Saka also deserves a mention, but I want to move on from that. I think Gabriel Jesus was fantastic today. And the elements of danger that he brings open up so many more avenues for Arsenal, right? And that's partly why you think there is a head of steam here. I will admit they haven't really faced that tricky moment yet. Now they might, they've got Everton, Manchester United, Villa is a tricky side to be against. So there are tricky, and obviously Fulham is also a side that's building a head of steam at the moment. They got their win. But the point is, they will face more challenges after these first 3. But what gave me even more hope was seeing people like A, Zinchenko, and B, Xhaka playing really intricate technical roles within the side that maybe that you didn't feel they had the confidence to play before. Zinchenko wasn't in the side, but you get my point. Zinchenko was fantastic today. Zinchenko opens up a whole new dimension for this team, and you can just see the confidence that people have playing with him. Feels similar to, being a Liverpool fan, I compare him to Mane. People knew that when Mane on the ball, a decision, at least in the passing sense, was going to be made, and it was going to be a good decision. People felt there was a solid decision there. There was going to be something where something's about to happen here. And similar happens with Zinchenko. Now, they've also got this substitution thing going on right now, which I think is where a lot of people question whether Arsenal will burn out this year, right? Do Arsenal burn out because of the depth of their squad? Or is it even burnout? Is it just they can't manage the number of games? They still have Europa League to play in, of course, and I get it. They brought on Lokonga, Tierney, Nketiah, Tomiyasu, and who's the last name? Emil Smith-Rowe. That's 5 players. That's a lot of good subs coming on in the 76th to 80th minute. But the point is, Arteta has started the same 3 sides in those first 3 games. Think about that for a second. That's a pretty consistent team that he's got there. And you would imagine that's because he trusts certain players in certain roles. And people will say, you know what? They won't play the same as the starting 11 if you bring on these subs. Correct. You will not play the same as that starting 11 when you bring on these subs. But that was exactly the point. If anything, the play was a lot more direct once they'd made the subs. When Bournemouth were tired, when Bournemouth were trying to counter-attack, it became a lot more direct. There were a lot more gaps at the back. Put Nketiah on, put Tierney on, put Tomiyasu on, and let Emile Smith-Rowe come on and gain some confidence. So you know that then he can get into that system, become a bit more, I guess, confident. But not only that, he can get into that back line and do his damage, gain some confidence, and offer an alternative. You don't want play. Obviously, you can have players that come in and do exactly the same role. You'd imagine that happens for Tierney. That might happen for Tomiyasu as well. But at the same time, great. They come with different factors. Those 5 subs are making a difference. You kind of felt sorry for Bournemouth. I don't really need to review Bournemouth. It's just what it is. Like they're going to get beaten by sides like Arsenal. Here's the other thing, and True Geordie said it on the kickoff. I thought it was quite an interesting point. Arsenal will humiliate a lot of teams this season. They will have teams that they just run through and, you know, people think, oh my God, that was humiliating. I kind of felt the same against Palace early on. Palace kicked back a little bit, definitely felt the same against Leicester. And Bournemouth never really looked like they were getting back into this game. There's a humiliating element to the control that Arsenal exert on these games. And then when they get into their stride, players like Gabriel Jesus have got that Brazilian kind of, I'm going to humiliate you, but it's with a totally smiling, lovely way about me. It's kind of strange in that sense. By the way, love the pink kit. Think it looks great out in the field. It's great contrasted with the dark shorts. It doesn't actually really look that pink, and they look good in the sunshine. I'll be interested to see if it looks the same in the winter. Anyway, I kind of said I'd work out where they were going to finish. The point is, I think they will finish, and at the moment, 3rd is calling out to them. Spurs are faltering a little bit. Chelsea are good, but not quite where they want to be. And sure, they might sign a few players, but will they get Fofana? If they get Harry Maguire, kiss goodbye to 3rd. But the point is, if you've got Liverpool and you've got City just above them, I think Liverpool may hit their stride at some point fairly soon. You'd imagine that that's the case. I'm not saying, in fact, I was having a text conversation just now saying actually maybe they don't and maybe it's not a great season for them, but that's a whole other video. 3rd is calling out to Arsenal right now. It is saying, come get me. That's my son in the background. The point is, yes, Arsenal can have a season where they don't only scrape 4th, they are comfortably in 3rd. Manchester United not having that start to the season, and I think betting in some of those signings will be fantastic. Casemiro will be a good signing for Manchester United. You can see that coming, but there is a wider problem at Manchester United that still needs addressing, and maybe that will get addressed in the next 12 to 18 months. Same goes Chelsea, and they are betting in a new owner, etc. And you know, obviously with everything else with Tuchel, and then I think Spurs have got an element of the explosivity about them. Maybe they're a little flammable or inflammable. I'm just saying, I don't believe that Arsenal are going to put a lot of importance on the Europa League this season. I don't believe that there is going to be that element of, wow, we really need to compete for that. Because I think they think they're going to get the top 4 this season. But Arsenal fans, let me know in the comments below. What is it that you want to see? I made my first Arsenal video and it was about Mikel Arteta. It was about what he had up on the wall. It was an Arsene Wenger quote. And it was about investing in yourself, believing in yourself, all those kind of things. And I still think that there is validity to that. What I loved about All or Nothing, and I'll finish on this, was there seems to be there's a genuine element or a huge genuine portion of Mikel Arteta that people can invest in. They know that when he speaks, even if, sure, they want it to be cheesy or whatever, it is a nice, kind, willing, positive element. And Arsenal players won't have always felt that more recently. So while we're busy mocking certain elements, I actually think Mikel Arteta is going to be positive for this Arsenal side to the point where they can get 3rd. Do you think they can go beyond that? That's my real question. Let me know in the comments below. I think they've got the rotatability, they've got a repeatable system, and they've also got huge amounts of potential within that side that can fulfill that, and a deeper squad than we probably know at this point. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think. I'll see you in the next video. Much love.